Time now for a look at business with Mike Eppel of City News 680. Mike, good morning to you. Let's dive right into it. You have a lot here. Things looking pretty good at Apple. No surprise.
Record-breaking second quarter, and actually it was a surprise in as much as, we've heard about consumers maybe slowing down their spending, Sid, and not spending as much. But for Apple, it seems to go against pretty much every typical metric. And people were waiting for the iPhone 14. Remember, there were supply chain issues. They got those straightened out. $51 billion in iPhone sales in a single quarter. The revenue overall, $94 billion. Profit, $24 billion. And the only weak spot, Mac computer sales, which were down. But remember, those had a huge increase when we dealt with the pandemic and we were all upgrading our technology a couple of years ago. So those were expected to moderate. Apple stock price is up a couple of percent here pre-market. Oh, and they're also buying back $90 billion worth of company stock. So some big numbers.
Yeah, they got their bases covered, it looks like, at least this quarter.
A little bit.
Mike, let's look at the skies here. And I don't want to hear in about 3 months anyone at Air Canada or Pearson or anyone saying, you know what, we didn't anticipate this type of volume, because they could easily anticipate the type of volume they're going to get.
Air Canada has raised its forecast for the summer and the entire year, Sid, because they're seeing advanced ticket sales way up. The numbers preparing for the summer, as you mentioned. Travel is going to be big. Let's face it. We heard earlier this week from Marriott International, one of the world's biggest hotel operators. They too saying they're seeing no sign of a slowdown. And this is kind of indicated in some recent surveys showing that despite everything else that's going on right now, people want to get out and travel. Goat, if you will, because, again, didn't do it for a couple of years. Now everybody's trying to go all over the place, and Air Canada is going to have a very busy time of it. Yeah, they better be prepared, because they certainly weren't over the winter and earlier this year. So get her going.
All right, let's move on here, Mike. A story we haven't hit on a ton, but it's significant. It's day 4 of the Hollywood writers' strike. This affects everything. How long before it becomes problematic for production studios?
Well, for the studios, it depends which sector, I suppose. If you're a movie theater operator and you're waiting for the next big budget box office blockbuster, that could actually be the first thing to slow down here, along with anything scripted live television programming. Saturday Night Live, for example, this weekend. It's on hiatus because they don't have, the writers aren't there. For things like Netflix or Disney Plus, perhaps a little bit of a longer time frame that they can weather this, because things like Succession are already streaming and are in mid-season, so those will be coming out later in the year. So they've got a little bit more wiggle room. But it's going to be interesting, Sid. The last time the writers were on strike was 100 days, which had a huge implication before the era of streaming, if you will. So this one could be even more damaging the longer it lasts.
Mike, quickly, 10 seconds. Leafs are down 2-0. Can they come back?
Yes. Oh, you asked me yesterday if they were going to win, and I said yes. And how'd that turn out?
Well, I don't blame you personally for the performance. I mean, I was with you. It wasn't your fault, friend.
Sure they can.
All right.
Yes.
Optimism from Mike Eppel.
Happy Friday, happy coronation weekend. All that good stuff.
Have a great weekend, brother. Mike Eppel, City News 680. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Mike, enjoy the weather.